Hi everyone, my name is Brad MacGlashan. I have a scarf business based here in Sydney. I met Jacqueline and Colleen at one of my early shop openings. Maybe a year or two ago, Jacqueline said that she wanted to consider making scarves. So over the course of a few months, we worked together on these designs here. So each of these works is one of Jacqueline's original collages. Do you want to just sort of explain how these the physical artwork is designed or made?
It's all old school, I say old school.
That's right.
All cut and paste on collage, and the original pieces I selected from magazines, glossy fashion magazines or home and garden magazines, and then for this particular piece I created filters, colour filters, and then put them over the black and white piece. That was that one. And then the other two are based on an exercise that I did at uni over 20 years ago. It's a very long time. And it was a theory, a colour theory experiment, quite visual, warm versus cool. Hence, the reds and the oranges versus the blues and the greens. And they didn't involve any filtered colouring, basically cutting out and finding textures and colours that work together to find a rhythmic language of light and shadow. Hopefully that flowed, but that's how
Were the works kind of this size to begin with?
No, they're like 30 by 20 centimetres.
Yeah, so we've scaled these up into a big, large scarf.
They're not here today, so but yeah, very small. Yeah.
So also this is Kirsten. Kirsten and I work together, and she's going to be my model this afternoon.
Anyone else wants to volunteer? I'm happy to volunteer.
We'll start with this scarf, which is the Vivace scarf. So this is made of 100% silk twill. The hems are all hand-rolled. Twill is a really great silk in that it has a medium body, a really great weight. It hangs off the body really well. It has a very fine grain, so if you tie it, it doesn't slip everywhere, but it still has a little bit of luster. With each scarf, I'm just going to do a quick 3 to 4 different ways to tie it. Nothing too complicated because you won't remember any of it anyway. So with a large scarf like this, I always begin by holding it at the corner at the tip. I find that if you do it this way, what you can end up with is a really kind of strong wide line across the waist, which not everyone wants. And it just falls beautifully this way, and it just looks a little bit more organic. So I would do that. I would grab it here, and you can do this with any large square rectangular scarf. And it will just fall in this sort of dappled, kind of uneven way. And then the most basic way to tie it, of course, is just to loop it around once. So that's basically, you're just throwing it on in the morning. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to fly off. You can put it inside a jacket, inside a collar. Yeah. And so from there, what we can also do is, now if you want to change the shape of anything or take out some weight or fabric in the scarf, you can just lay it down and basically roll it up a bit. Now I would always roll it in towards the center as opposed to into a rectangle. So, and you can do this sort of as messily or as tidily as you like. So that just makes it a little less bulky. Tie it onto here. I'm going to wrap it again in the same way, but this time I'm going to just make a little loop here. So one loop, and then you can pop that through. And tie it up or as tight or as loose as you want. But at least, again, it's not going to go anywhere, it's not quite so bulky. So that's a really big scarf tied down into something relatively small.
I already thought how to do that, and I really like it.
Yeah, so just, yeah. So there's one loop, and you just pop it through.
Okay.
In that same vein, I just need to refold this slightly. This is Kirsten's sort of favorite way of wearing scarves.
I love this one.
So,
Everyone goes, oh my God, how did you do that?
so you can just tie this basically like a scarf. I mean, like a scarf, like a tie. So around once, around again.
And if you're Chris, the Windsor knot.
So it's super easy. You can bring it up under a collar, over a collar. A guy can do this. He can put it up here and make it look like a cravat. So for me, a lot of people say to me, oh, I can't wear a scarf that big, or I don't know how to use that much fabric. You can make it small. I quite like this long linear line as well. Like, I think that's sort of flattering. And this can also be done if it's a little bit looser. And you want to turn around for me? So if you're wearing a dress in the evening, so say, for example, you've got a spaghetti strap or just a little cap sleeve or something, and just a simple long dress, you can just put that on there. And this will just sit at the front. And if you're someone who's worried about their neck at all,
And
that's a little bonus.
Issues, not a problem.
Okay. Feel free to ask questions as well as I go. While I have this like this, I will tie it again one more time. So this is just basically a circle. I'm tying it in one loop at the end. And then you've effectively made your own infinity scarf. So you can just tie this around and around. Again, you can play with it, mess with it. Great in winter, it's not going anywhere. And if you're really like not good at tying scarves, you can just keep it tied and just throw it on like that every single time. You don't have to think about anything. So even if something's a rectangle, it can always be turned into a square if you double it over, or again, a triangle. So triangles are a great way to start with a lot of styles. So I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing there, but I've just folded it in half. And then everyone's sort of familiar with this, but really what you're doing is just kind of like that cowboy bandana sort of thing. If you want to, you could tie that back underneath. So some people will tuck it in. And especially if you've got a jacket or a coat or something. Easy, you've sort of got your own cravat there. Yeah. So this one is the same measurement as the first one, and it's also silk twill. All the hems are hand rolled. So if you're buying nice silk scarves, that's a feature that you want to look for as opposed to a machine hem. And it's something that will distinguish between a fake and a real luxury product, I guess. So anything can kind of be a blouse as well, or a shirt. A lot of scarf styling as tops will be like bandeaus and like little bikini tops and things, but you don't really need to use it that way. If you want, just loosely tie it sort of as a cow neck at the top. And just get you to step forward. Take those. Actually, I need to loosen this up at the top. Now, it looks a little funny until you put a jacket over the top, but you'll see what I mean. So this is a way for you to use your, I guess, your scarves as a garment. You don't have to have your back exposed, obviously. If I had tightened that up more at the back, it would sit higher, so you can adjust that as you want. But basically, you can just wear a tank underneath, and then your scarf, and you've got a different top. Anyway, get the idea.
And you don't have to iron.
So as I rolled it before, I'm going to do the same thing, but just use it as a very simple headscarf. Not a turban. This is kind of something that anyone can do just to keep the hair out of their face. So I'm just rolling in towards the center. So you have a long, kind of narrower piece of fabric. So we can always just start from underneath, up over the top. There you are. So one loop. And there you go. And so you get a little bit of a turban. It's not complicated. It's just wrapped around at the top gently. So again, this is a really big scarf, just tied as a very simple headscarf.
Wow.
And then I would tweak it a bit.
Oh my God, you should wear it.
Thank you. I mean, you can do that with any scarf. It doesn't have, you can do it just with a little square one, whatever you like. Okay, so this one, this is also 100% silk, but this is chiffon. So obviously with silk, there are many varieties. You have georgette, chiffon, crepe, twill. So it's lighter. We felt that given the colors, it was very summery, outdoorsy. Outdoorsy is in the beach, not like bush. You can wear it in the bush if you want. So something like this, I always like chiffons or georgettes.
Sorry,
As-
blazer. Sorry.
I mean, I don't really need to show you this, but you can just to give a demonstration. I mean, if you're at the beach, pool, holiday, resort, whatever, that's just a lovely way to wear it. And you get that ruffle at the front, so it gives you a bit of coverage down there.
Do I need to turn?
You can kind of, so they're lovely and floaty, they kind of blow out behind you. While I have this here, actually, I'll show you another version of kind of resort sarongi. Up that. So that's just wrapped behind you, up and over the top. So you probably wouldn't be wearing this with shirt and slacks, but you get the idea.
Beach wear.
So you can just have that soft and flowing down behind you if you're wearing like your bathers or something underneath, or if you want, you can kind of affix it here as well. So you can just do a little, grab a little bit of fabric, and then at least that way nothing that you don't want exposed is going to be exposed. Yeah. Cool. And then another thing that you can do, which my customers do a lot, turn them into like a little jacket or a, I guess a kimono. So you don't need to go out and buy a kimono. With any scarf you have, you can just take either end, tie a knot here, do the same at the other end. Yeah, need a top hat. You'll notice with the chiffon, any kind of light fabric with this as well, the print show through is really nice. So you get like pretty much same back to front. And then you can just slide your arms through. So if you want to stand back on, yeah. What you can do, this is quite loose, but you can just make this as tight as you want. So you can pull that up really much firmer. And then I just stick these little bows in there, sort of. And so it will just come up tighter and shorter. And then actually to begin with, if you doubled over the fabric, you could get it really short and it would be just like a little bolero. So this is quite good if you're going out for dinner, to the opera, I don't know, whatever you want to do, and you just want something different to wear, and using your scarf in a different way. That's it. Thank you.